寄予中鼎家，虚名定无疑。
出生30年，长游千万里，新疆青草河，如彩虹传奇。Born 30 years ago, I've traveled countless miles along rivers where the green rushes swayed, to the frontier where the red dust swirled. 炼药空求仙. I've made elixirs and tried to become immortal. 读书间咏诗. I've read the classics and written odes. 今日归Han Shan, and now I've retired to Cold Mountain, 陈流见溪儿, to lie in a stream and wash out my ears.
Great line. It's a great line. It's been quoted a lot later. That sleep by the creek and purify my ears.
In his own poems, there's clear evidence he had a family, tried to make it in the capital, regrets not being in the capital sometimes, you know, where the action is, working on politics, working as a bureaucrat.
The term boiling red dust is a common trope for the dusty, dirty turmoil and chaos and moral corruption of cities.
So many of the great Chinese poets, they all had a tension, and Han Shan has this as well, between being in the world and being away from the world.
So today I'm back at Cold Mountain would be like, I've given up trying to be a Taoist alchemist. I've gone back to my Buddhist practice, which accepts impermanence and looks at the shortness of life in a different way. That's back at Cold Mountain.
The birds and their chatter overwhelm me with feeling. At times like this, I lie down in my thatched hut.
As the busy Sunday people world recede at Guoxing Temple, cicadas come up to greet us.
Cherries shine with crimson fire. Willows trail their slender boughs. Whoever thought I would leave the dusty world and come bounding up the southern slope of Cold Mountain?
You know that Chinese character for cicada is a character Zen with a bug next to it. These are Zen bugs.
There's a naked bug at Cold Mountain with a white body and a black head. His hand holds 2 book scrolls, one the way and one its powers, the Tao Te Ching. His shack's got no pots or oven. He goes for a walk with his shirt and pants askew, but he always carries the sword of wisdom. He means to cut down senseless craving.
驱马渡荒城，荒城动客情，高低旧质跌。大小古坟茔，自证孤蓬影，长宁拱木声。所接皆属古，先时更无名。
We're in Coal Mountain Cave. We're having lunch. It's being prepared for us by a laywoman, who I fondly call the butterfly woman, who lives here, has lived here for the last 5 or more years. I know nothing about her. She doesn't speak, nor does she write. But she smiles a lot.
Beautiful.
And I'm sure if Coal Mountain, in fact, if you visit any hermit in China, this is sort of the reception you generally receive. Nothing but everything they have.
When you find them.
When you find them. Well, here is to Coal Mountain Cave. Cheers. Cheers. And all the pilgrims who have come here.
Men ask the way to Cold Mountain. Cold Mountain, there's no through trail. In summer, ice doesn't melt. The rising sun blurs in swirling fog. How did I make it? My heart's not the same as yours. If your heart was like mine, you'd get it and be right here. Number 22, a 4-line poem. On top of Cold Mountain, the lone round moon lights the whole clear cloudless sky. The full moon is the Buddhist symbol for full enlightenment.
From the commentaries are by Buddhist monks, Japanese monks, and they say, well, he couldn't really be unhappy because he's enlightened. Zen doesn't mean being happy all the time. It means being what you are at the time. If you're unhappy, be unhappy. And if you're happy, be happy. But don't cling to it.
I realized that Chen Shixiang had really put me onto a challenge, that he had given me something to really work on. Much more challenging for me than the ordinary Chinese great poet, even though they're very great, and they're very, very hard to translate sometimes. This was more personal, because it touched on things I thought I should be trying to do in my own life and in my own practice.
One other thing about Han Shan and who he is and how he struck me immediately. He's very funny.
Do you have the poems of Han Shan in your house? They're better for you than sutra reading. Write them out and paste them on a screen where you can glance them over from time to time.
Once at Cold Mountain, troubles cease. No more tangled, hung-up mind. I idly scribble poems on the rock cliff, taking whatever comes like a drifting boat.
I came once to sit on Cold Mountain and lingered here for 30 years. Yesterday I went to see relatives and friends. Over half had gone to the Yellow Spring. Bit by bit, life fades like a guttering lamp, passes on like a river that never rests. This morning I face my lonely shadow, and before I know it, tears come streaming down. Some of these I read when my father died. We had a little family ceremony of our own, and I read Han Shan.
He wasn't writing for the elite educated classes. He wasn't trying to impress people with his erudition by making all kinds of literary references and allusions like most Chinese poets did of the Tang Dynasty. He wrote to people's hearts, from his heart.
I would say I favor, the Han Shan version of Zen. But some people think Han Shan isn't upbeat or sustainedly upbeat enough. But that's what makes it interesting as poetry.
Well, this has been a great honor for us.
Poets are almost never discovered in their own lifetime. It always takes a good death or a good disappearance.
从这儿出来的，从那边进去，他就是把这样一坏，就生门开下来了，开下来之后他就进去了。
And people have revered him ever since.
One of the differences between China and Japan, between them, say, and the Occident, is they still enjoy the idea of poet eccentrics. And they can recognize them when they see them. And they won't make a fuss about a person like that when they're alive. But after they're dead, they'll admire them and publish their books and talk about them. But they'll wait till they die.
寒山有裸虫，身白而头黑。手把两卷书，一道将易得。住不安抚照，行不羁衣歌。常持智慧剑，拟破烦恼贼。